Secretary. Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Planning Commission meeting for March 14th, 2018. Have a roll call, please.
Chairman Kurth.
Here.
Vice Chairman Porter. Commissioner Huber.
Here.
Commissioner Dew.
Present.
Commissioner Marsh.
Here.
If you all please rise for the invocation led to us by Commissioner Huber and the Pledge of Allegiance.
Heavenly Father, stir us to listen to the needs of humankind and do our part to assist those in need. Realize that we can create more happiness by serving others than by doing for ourselves.
We have a set of minutes we need to deal with from the February 14th, 2018 meeting.
Chairman, I move to approve.
Have a motion by Commissioner Dew, second by Commissioner Porter. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously, approving the minutes of February 14th, 2018.
Thank you. Starting with agenda item number 1, we have a request to continue this item number 1. The request would be to continue it to the May 9th, 2018 meeting, but this has been agendaized, and so I will open up the public hearing on agenda item number 1, if there's anyone to speak to us on number 1. Okay, seeing no one on number 1, I'll go ahead and move to continue this item to May 9th, 2018.
Have a motion by Commissioner Kurth, second by Commissioner Huber to continue the item to May 9th, 2018. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously to continue item number 1.
Thank you. Agenda item number 2, staff report, please.
Thank you, Chairman Kurth. Item number 2 is case PLN 17-00032. It is a site plan and conditional use permit with an environmental exemption to allow for the development of a fueling station with accessory convenience store and an attached restaurant within a single-family residential initiative area, and a conditional use permit to allow for the sale of beer and wine from the convenience store for off-site consumption on a vacant property located on the northwest corner of Mojave Drive and Amargosa Road. The proposal will consist of a 3,000 square foot convenience store, 1,200 square foot attached quick serve restaurant, and a 12 pump fueling canopy. The proposal meets all municipal code standards as conditioned, and staff supports the proposal as submitted, and we're available if you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions for staff? Okay, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing, and if there's anyone here to speak to us on item number 2. Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing on item number 2 and bring it back to the commission for a decision.
Chairman, I will now, since the petitioners are not here, I'd like to address a few questions to the staff. Did they brief you as to how they're going to have safeguards for their employees? Some sort of training, cameras? Did they address it at all?
They specifically did not, but our municipal code does have standards in place for responsible beverage training for all of their employees, and that's conditioned for the alcohol sales conditional use permit. There is also a condition that they install a camera system that's available for the sheriff's department to review at any given time. So we do have safeguards within our municipal code standards, and they're accepting of those conditions.
Thank you. I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Any other questions or comments?
To find the project categorically exempt. Approving the fueling station conditional use permit portion of case PLN 1732, subject to all the conditions of approval, and adopt resolution P 18-012, approving the conditional use permit portion of case PLN 1332, allowing beer and wine sales for off-site consumption with the public finding of convenience and necessity, and subject to all conditions of approval. And adopt resolution P 18023, approving the site plan portion of case number PLN 1732, subject to all conditions of approval.
Second.
Have a motion by Commissioner Porter, second by Commissioner Dew to approve item number 2. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously to item number 2.
Thank you. Agenda item number 3 is a wireless communication facility. Staff report, please.
Thank you, Chairman Kurth. Item number 3 is case PLAN 17-00017. It is a site plan and conditional use permit with an environmental exemption to allow for the installation of a 65-foot tall wireless communication facility disguised as a eucalyptus tree. This is located south of Luna Road, east of Highway 395, west of Cantina Drive. Specifically, this would be located behind a newer development. There's a Chevron gas station and Luna Market that's located on the corner of 395 and Luna. The site would be proposed directly behind that. Staff's worked with the applicant to lower the height. It was originally proposed at 70 feet. Based on the propagation maps that were submitted, they could still have adequate coverage at a lower height. So we've incorporated that within the conditions of maximum height of 65 feet. The center line of the antennas would be at 55 feet. And this is similar to other wireless facility heights that the commission's approved in the past. Unfortunately, we weren't able to find any co-locations in this vicinity of the west side of Victorville due to the sparse development with only single-family homes in the area. So it is what it is. We need, the residents, require coverage, and we need to provide that service somehow. The proposal's conditioned to meet all of the municipal code standards. There was an add-on that was distributed to the commission with additional fire department standards and access requirements. So we ask that if you move to approve this item, that you mention that those conditions are included as well. And we're available if you have any questions.
Thank you. Any questions of staff at this time? Okay, I'll open up the public hearing on agenda item number 3. I do have a card from Mr. Novak with J5.
Hi, Chairman. Hi, Commissioners. My name is Bryce Novak. I'm representing Verizon on the cell site. Be happy to answer any questions you may have.
Any questions from the applicant? I think so. Thanks.
All right, thank you.
Is there anyone else here to speak to us on agenda item number 3? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing on number 3 and bring it back to the commission.
Construction or conversion.
second.
Was that Commissioner Marsh that made the second? Did you make the second? Yeah, okay. Motion by Commissioner Huber, second by Commissioner Marsh to approve item number 3 with the noted conditions, additional conditions. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. Agenda item number 4, staff report, please.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the commission. Agenda item number 4 is planning case number PLAN 18-00018. It's a conditional use permit with an environmental exemption to allow for the expansion of the Mojave River Academy Charter School into 2 additional suites from its existing 2. It currently operates in suites 201 and 202 of property located at 12384 Palmdale Road, and the proposed expansion would allow for operations to also include suites 205 and 206. This expansion is due to increasing enrollment and the desire to separate grades K through 8 from 7 through 12. Operations will remain largely the same, with operating hours of Monday through Friday from 7:30 to 5. And being that this is a charter school and essentially a resource center as it currently stands, it would be one-on-one instruction and tutoring with hours basically based upon the student's need. They would meet with tutors or instructors as needed based on that. It is also located within a multi-tenant commercial center that appears to be in good shape, and it doesn't appear that any of the uses within that center would be negatively affected by the expansion of this conditional use. That being said, charter schools have been a hot button topic over the last few years. That was largely in part to a ruling in 2016, Anderson Unified School District versus Shasta Secondary Homeschool. Essentially, the nuts and bolts of it are charter schools were allowed to operate outside of their chartering districts up until that ruling. And that what that ruling said is that charter schools would then have to be located within the districts that they're chartered by. It gave some exceptions, exceptions being it could be granted a waiver by a higher board, such as the county or the State Board of Education. Currently, at the current school year, this location is granted a waiver by the State Boards of Education. For future years, their proposal is to operate under the Education Code 47605.1, as noted in the staff report. Essentially, this waiver or this exemption would allow for charter schools to locate one location outside of their district boundaries if they had issues finding suitable locations within their district boundaries. Staff had some reservations with this initially due to the fact that currently Mojave River Academy is one charter school with multiple resource center locations. Under the state waiver, that's acceptable. Moving forward, their intent is to charter each one of these resource centers individually, so they will essentially be a separate charter school, which then would allow them to operate each one of those outside of the district. As part of our typical process, we notified all responsible agencies, including the underlying school districts, and as of this writing, we hadn't received any, and as of this meeting until today, we hadn't received any negative feedback from any of those parties or neighboring property owners. That being said, staff would recommend approval of the proposal as conditioned.
Thank you. Questions for staff? Okay, I'll go ahead and open up the public hearing on agenda item number 4, and I do have a few cards. I'll start with Dr. Ron Williams.
Mr. Chairman, may I ask a question? Is the petitioner here themselves?
Is anyone here from the Mojave River Academy?
Okay, thank you.
Good evening, Commissioners, Attorney, City Planner. I'm the Superintendent for the Victor Valley Union High School District. We have a number of people that's going to be speaking here this evening, but I've got a prepared statement I'd like to share with you. I'm here to express my opposition to the expansion of the Mojave River Academy on 12384 Palmdale Road in the city of Victorville. The charter school located there are requesting the charter school location there that is being requested within the geographical boundaries of our district. Mojave River Academy is an independent study school format, and as such, is prohibited from seeking a location outside of the boundaries of Oro Grande School District, with whom they have a current charter agreement. Currently, only charter schools offering a program that requires students to attend daily have a direct instructional programs are afforded by the law. The opportunity to seek a business location outside of their charter school district. The request by Mojave River Academy to open an additional business in the Victorville area and in our district boundaries is a blatant violation of the rules governing charter schools. Allowing the expansion of Mojave River Academy into neighboring districts in which they do not have a charter agreement is not legal or logical. Please consider the potential detriment to Victor Valley Union High School District that with this expansion would cause. And it is our contention that Mojave River current request is to expand is a violation of law, and allowing future expansion would complicate what has become a legal matter for us as well as the neighboring districts. Thank you.
Thank you. I have a card from Lauren Francoisi.
Yes, good evening, Commissioner, members, ladies and gentlemen. I would like to reiterate what my superintendent has said. I have the privilege of serving as the Assistant Superintendent of Ed Services. It is our contention that the school functioning as an independent charter is without the right to seek a storefront in our district. They are, in our opinion, violating the law in that respect, and the expansion would only seek to harm and be a detriment to our district and the services that we provide to the students that live in Victorville. Please consider the future legal potential of this move, and please consider our district in your consideration this evening of this proposal. Thank you.
Thank you.
Penny Edmonston. Barbara Dew.
Cut it out.
Jose Barrios.
Hello there, board. I'm not used to being on this side of the dais, but this is kind of a nice view. But anyway, the legalese has already been mentioned, but then also on the first slide it shows the Mojave River Academy 2. Now, even withstanding all the other legal talk, one school is what the claim is that they're allowed. Now, they're expanding, and their reasoning, even in the board packet, is to have two separate schools, one for primary and one for secondary school. So Victor Elementary should be part of this discussion also. So this is obviously just another chance to expand the school to a place where obviously it's not even supposed to be. And they are even going to get different school numbers, which further designates that those are two separate schools. And that's basically all I have to say about the issue, because the real nuts and bolts has already been mentioned. Thank you.
Thank you. Tim Norton.
Mr. Chairman, Commissioners, thank you for allowing me a moment to speak. My name is Tim Norton. I'm a member of the Victor Valley Union High School District School Board, and I'm here to address my opposition to the expansion of the Mojave River Academy. As said already, the Mojave River Academy is an independent study school format, and as such is prohibited from seeking a location outside of the boundaries of Oro Grande District. Not only does their charter renewal that they've recently had renewed by Oro Grande District not identify a request to expand, but state law, ruled on by the Supreme Court, prevents charter schools from moving into neighboring districts. Their state waiver expires in June of 2018. Within their own requests, they state that they're going to work around the state law by seeking individual charters within the districts which they're located within. Let them come to our school district and request a charter. That's the proper way of doing this, not trying to go around it by seeking a back door through your planning commission. Let them come to us, lay out what they want to do, and then we'll either approve it or not. But that's the way it should be done, and that's the way they say they're going to do it in their request. I would ask you to consider that and then consider the effects of approving this without that understanding on our students. Thank you.
Thank you. That's all the cards I have for number 4. Is there anyone else here that would like to speak to us on item number 4? Okay. Seeing no one, I thank you for your testimony. I'm going to close the public hearing, and I'm going to bring it back to the commission for discussion.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak to this issue. First of all, I want to thank those who showed up before the commission to speak to address this issue. The fact that the petitioner themselves did not show to present their case, I cannot take them very seriously that they would not even show up to present their case. That speaks volume of their character, in my view. Second, I would say to you, as someone who's been on 2 school boards, education is something that's taken seriously within our country. People have the opportunity to homeschool, private school, charter school, regular public education, and even go online. So there's many opportunities in which to acquire an education. The problem with charter school in the state of California since its beginning, there are those such as people who are serious about public education have always thought that public charter schools, some, not all, but in the very beginning, the legislature clearly did not do a good job in managing funding of those schools. It was a money train that was running wild. The legislature had to catch up, school district caught up to them, and now that we are on an equal footing as it relates to holding them accountable, this seems to me that this particular charter school is circumventing the system altogether, and I cannot vote in favor of such a practice by this charter school. Oro Grande is Oro Grande. They're not Victorville. Oro Grande doesn't have the population which we have. We at least have 2 school districts, Victor Valley Union High School District as well as Victor Elementary School District. Oro Grande is a really small population. A charter school such as this can take advantage of them. They should not be allowed to expand within the city of Victorville, and therefore I will vote no. Thank you.
I, too, am concerned that no one from the Mojave River Academy showed up to present their case. There was a lot of questions that were brought up, and I would also, in our staff report, it said the subject charter school was granted a waiver by the State Board of Education for the current 2017-18 school year, and will seek exemption under applicable California Education Code provisions for future operations. But if they don't have that right now, aren't they putting the cart before the horse? I don't see anything wrong with them appearing before our school districts and requesting a charter or whatever they have to do that makes them legal. Wouldn't want to cause a problem there.
Well,
I as well would be inclined to say that might, as course of action at this point. There's been, serious accusations. It's a complicated matter, and hear from them before I would make a solid decision. So with that, I'm going to make a motion that we continue this item to our next regularly scheduled Planning Commission meeting, and would ask that staff reach out to them and give them an update on how the meeting went, and that we would request their representatives' presence for explanation and possible questions.
I have a motion by Commissioner Kurt, the second by Commissioner Huber, to continue the item number 4 to the meeting in April. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Okay, thank you. And thank you all for attending that item. Agenda item number 5, staff report, please.
Yes, Chairman, Commissioners. Agenda item number 5, planning case 18021. It's a conditional use permit with an environmental exemption to allow for a community meeting location with support services, and a request to determine support services such as food storage, donation processing, and hygiene and food distribution to people in need as permissible and or conditional uses within the storefront commercial district of the Old Town Specific Plan. Located at 15579 8th Street. The Victor Valley Rescue Mission is proposing to move and expand their operations from 7th Street to the old Victor Elementary School District office on 8th Street. The expansion includes uses not addressed within the current Old Town Specific Plan. Those support services uses include food box distribution, donation processing, and food storage. The Commission determines that support services are similar to other uses in the storefront commercial district, then they can be considered in the overall conditional use permit for the rescue mission. This new site will be utilized in 2 phases. Phase 1 is for the support services and the conditional use, the resource and job center. Phase 2 will be for the homeless shelter. This approval is for phase 1 only. It's evident that the need for services in Old Town. Use will be off 7th Street and well regulated, but some impacts may still occur. Staff believes the benefits will outweigh any impacts to Old Town. Staff recommends the determination be made and approval of the CUP, along with the modification to condition number 10. Staff is available for any questions.
Thank you. Questions for staff? If we have no questions at this time, I'm going to open up the public hearing on agenda item number 5. I have a few cards here first. I have Mr. Alan Clother. I know you guys are all here together, so you can kind of speak as you had planned, or if you want to, if somebody wants to start.
Yes.
Yeah, go ahead.
Good evening. Thank you for letting us present, and appreciate that we get to be here.
And your name is Bill Edwards.
Bill Edwards, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to make sure if you guys have any questions. I know that we laid out many concerns about some of the issues that were brought up prior to the staff report coming out. But is there any questions or concerns from you guys that we can help address here tonight?
I did have a question as far as,
Yes, sir.
Now you own the building, right? This is the building that you currently own right now?
We are in escrow.
You're in escrow, okay.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, because I think my question would be the long term, how long, that you plan on having something like this inside that building, for the reason 7th Street, the Old Town Revitalization Program, my concern is how is that going to affect that? We already have a problem down there. in that area as far as, vagrancy, vandalism, arson. There's all kinds of problems already. So with this center being there, it's going to invite more people, into, kind of hanging around. So that, that was kind of my concern, is that, what type of impact is it gonna have over, the future of that area as a whole.
Sure, and thank you for the question. The people, Commissioner, are already there, and they keep coming, and they've been there. I grew up here. My uncles, that was the original jail. My uncles were rowdy. They spent some time there. I've been here my whole life, and that has always been the area where the homeless tend to gather, is in that downtown area. Our goal is to develop relationship with them through the outreaches. Now, we don't do a lot of, most of our outreaches happen off-site, as you read in the staff report. What we do in the morning is maybe a cup of coffee, let them come in for the day, what we would consider an opportunity to develop a relationship, maybe get them connected to some resources. So we want to be a part of the solution of reducing homelessness in the downtown area. That's really what we get to do on a daily basis. We have 5 missions, 7 thrift stores, and a food bank all throughout Southern California. And we do this on a daily basis in 5 counties. And we have a long-standing track record of success of helping to reduce the footprint of homelessness in certain communities. Now, there's no one solution, and we understand that. And so we do our very best with how we function and operate to ensure that we take the time and measure to develop a relationship with that person who comes in the front door, to not be a handout organization, but to be a hand up, so that eventually, when they're ready, we'll have an opportunity to serve them. I have a gentleman by the name of Steve in our program, homeless on the riverbed for 15 years. And he's in month 5 in our program. When he was ready, we were there. And so that's about, I wish I could give you statistics and tell you what we're doing, but as they come in, we're going to develop a relationship and hopefully negate that long-term position of homelessness in the community versus them getting stuck in it for years and years and years. Does that answer your question? Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to ask the petitioner a few questions. First of all, let me commend you and those of who are also in the business of assisting the homeless population. I want to commend you for that. Do you have any idea how many people who are considered to be homeless, what the amount of people are as relates to the homeless population? Do you have any idea at all? A number?
Is the question around the downtown district or maybe the high desert as a whole?
We can talk about the downtown district or the 7th Street area, and then we can talk about Victorville as a whole.
There's over 150 homeless in the downtown, midtown to downtown area. Mm-hmm. There's probably closer to 200. As far as the high desert as a whole, the last point in time count, we don't have the numbers yet, but Victorville was the number 3 on the list. Right behind San Bernardino and, don't remember the other city. But there was, Victorville was number 3. Now it's a list we don't want to go up on, we want to go down on. And so the last point in time count that was done in January, we were a part of it, and there was more people counted. I can tell you that, but I don't have a specific number for you. But that number has gone up.
Okay. So you say Victorville is number 3 before San Bernardino, correct? Is this within San Bernardino County?
Cities. So when they do a point in time count, they go city by city and engage the homeless community for one day to get a good count going. And the count this year was higher than the previous year. I can't tell you by how much because they haven't tallied everything yet.
Can you share with me, because I have very little knowledge of the homeless population, what is the cause what are the causes of homelessness?
Sure. Homelessness begins oftentimes either in the home with a young teenager, maybe experiencing drugs. I mean, I just tell you guys, it's the first time I was homeless. I was 16 years old. I lived in the junkyard on East Street and slept in my car. So it happens for all kinds of reasons. Involvement in drugs, parents aren't the greatest. We experience people from all walks of life. Mental illness is a big part of it, and you guys are, engaging in the Queens Motel Project to help the most disadvantaged in that. But Commissioner, there is reason after reason for homelessness. The primary reason for homelessness is lack of relationship. That's what we truly believe, because it's through relationship that you find lives get changed, right? Yeah, I'm an example of that. I'm a product of a Salvation Army out of San Bernardino. 10 and a half years ago, I couldn't stand before you here and speak on any of this. And yet, by God's grace, I get to be here tonight and tell you guys that one life changed can matter. And that's what we do. We change lives.
Also, I believe in the workshop there was, I believe, a discussion regarding something along the lines of Phase 1 and Phase 2 as it relates to your organization. So am I to understand that Phase 2 consists of another location of which you're going to have something more capacity to address, or as it relates to bedding and other factors? I don't know.
Sure. The goal is for Phase 2 to provide a life recovery program in the 8th Street building. So as you can see, it's 2 levels. The upstairs area would be developed out, remodeled to accommodate 30 to 40 beds upstairs. And then downstairs, there's room to do what we call a discovery bed program. Gentlemen can come in off the street for so many days at a time. At the end of that, they make a decision to stay with us and go in our program, or to go back out on the street. They can't stay in the shelter for a certain number of days, but it's not that they're not denied services. They can come back and we can give them a toothbrush, take a shower, those kinds of things. But the idea of being comfortable on the street is not what we want, right? We want to engage them in a way that, again, they decide to want to change, that the amenities and things that they've been given, the relationship, makes a difference in them, that they don't want to go back out on the street for that period of time, right? And our program in Ventura County does that. They spend 10 days, Alan, and then 15 days they can't come back if they decide to leave. And 15 days in the desert, a little different than 15 days down by the beach, in my opinion. So,
are you aware that the city of Victorville has plans for revitalization of Old Town? Are you aware of that?
I am, and I'm sorry, go ahead.
And prior to your interest in purchasing that property, did you take that into account?
Yes.
How so?
I truly see that the building will act as a catalyst for helping to redefine what the downtown district truly looks like. We have the experience, the opportunity to engage the homeless on a level that most people aren't prepared to do. And that we can offer these services and get more of them to accept the help. And we know our program's not perfect for everybody, so we collaborate with many different agencies across the whole desert. Even down the hill, we send folks to our Ventura County Rescue Mission, to our Women and Children's Program in Oxnard, to our San Fernando Valley Family Mission. So we see it as a catalyst of beginning to change what the downtown looks like. We can't remove all the homeless off of the street, and that's all, we're not here making that promise. But we're here to let you know that we have a practiced and reliable program to achieve reducing what homelessness looks like on the streets of the downtown. And I grew up here, like I said, I bought my Husky Toughskins at the JCPenney right next door. My office currently now was Hearn's House of Music, right? And so I get the downtown area. I understand what it can look like and what it could be. And I truly am excited to be a partner with you guys in helping to redevelop that. I see taking the people that are out front with their hands out, asking for money or whatever, and finding business people who want to enable these folks to ultimately rent them space in maybe one of these buildings to actually have a shop. Maybe they want to do T-shirts or a clothing shop, or they have a skill that they could use. We do this at our San Fernando Valley Rescue Mission. We have a guest that stayed down there. Her and her 2 kids would sell tamales in the parking lots of shopping centers. And she would make the tamales in her friends' kitchens. Well, today she has a brick and mortar tamale shop in the San Fernando Valley. And it's all legal, and she has employees. And that all happened through partnering and collaboration with many different agencies like the local college and the advisory board members who have connections to people who want to help. That's why I truly envision happening in the downtown area. We don't want to be, we just don't want to catch them and release them. We want to teach someone to fish. Does that make sense?
It does. First of all, lastly, I'll say to you, let me thank you again and commend your organization for what you do for homeless people. My main concern is I'm not altogether convinced that's the ideal location, considering the city of Victorville's plans for revitalization. I don't know how that would mix. If you were to do administration, like you had 20 people working in that building, and that would be one thing, or maybe people could come there and get food or assistance in filling out paperwork. That'd be one thing, but housing and distribution, I consider it possibly to be problematic for us, at least for me. From my view, I can only speak as one commissioner. That's my challenge.
Sure.
So, and again, I do want to thank you.
I just encourage you to maybe research some of our other missions and just take a look and see at what we're doing in other communities.
And lastly, how long did you plan to? Do you plan to start here in that building and then expand elsewhere? I don't know.
No, the plan would be to remodel and house in that building. That's the ultimate plan. We have to do capital campaigning to raise money to ultimately remodel. You know, the building's from the 40s, so there's extensive structural engineering that needs to go into it. But that's our goal.
I yield back, Mr. Chairman.
Mr. Edwards,
Yes.
you're a faith-based organization also, aren't you?
Yes. I believe it's that mind, body, and spirit. You need to address all three in order to get a result of reconciliation to families, reconciliation to spiritual life, and to become employable and return back to society. It takes all of those things to achieve that goal.
I've heard some of your advertisements on the radio, and they're impressive.
Thank you.
They're very impressive.
I had a question for staff. It mentions phase 1, and he's made it clear that phase 2 is the shelter portion. Are we approving both phase 1 and phase 2?
No.
This was to be approved. Phase 2 would be under a similar a separate application.
Yes, it would be under a separate application. Essentially, it would be a modification to their existing conditional use permit if, when the revision to the specific plan is approved, having homeless shelters as a conditional use. So before you tonight is just their phase 1. But the commission, we put that in the staff report because we want you to know what they're investing in the property, and we want you to know that they intend to eventually apply for a more expanded service.
Thanks.
I have comments.
Real quick, just while we're on that note, just real quick, the you might have stated this, I don't remember. Your best guess that should you be able to raise the capital contributions, when would you reasonably foresee wanting to start moving forward with the phase 2 that was described?
Betting on capital campaigns, things like that, I would say minimum of 36 months. Would you agree? 3 to 5.
Yeah. I know that could be we don't know which direction for sure this is going tonight. That could be a totally different commission then. And in a lot of people's minds, including mine, it could be that the actual housing and sheltering is substantially different than this proposal here. However, you are buying the building, and it's supposed to be in the same building, so that may be a whole different issue then.
Sure.
And currently now, I thought of before, you process the donations down there, and I assume those go out to like some churches and other places that they actually hand out, and folks can take advantage of that.
We do. We partner with several churches in the area, throughout the high desert, actually, and that's where the outreaches happen. We don't go to the parks and distribute stuff directly out. We ask them to come into relationship with the folks that are at these different facilities. So that
Do you currently do that now in your facility on 7th Street, and will you do that in the new facility as far as hand out to people on that site at any given time or day?
Yes. The goal is to offer a cup of coffee and a pastry, a jacket if they need it, those kinds of things. But we still try to, that's on a case-by-case basis. Our goal is to push them to the partner agency, that has the clothing distribution and the food distribution, again, to surround them in relationship in order to, but somebody walks in on a cold night like tonight, at 4:30 and they got socks and no shoes, well, I'm not going to deny them something.
Out of a couple hundred people that we think might be in this area homeless in Victorville, there you're not going to see a line of 6, 7, 8 people in the morning waiting to get something.
You might see a line before we open up. Just a lot of times they're there to charge a phone or maybe get a cup of coffee, something like that. So yeah, I don't want to say no, you wouldn't see a line, but we definitely don't encourage any kind of camping or loitering in the area. And then we do clean up every day. We make sure that there isn't anything left on the street from us.
Thank you.
Yes, I got a few comments. I've been in business downtown 50 years this year. That is not what I visualize Old Town going to be. I've been on lots of committees. I wished it would be in a different location. So much talk about how to do Old Town, and every committee seems to have something different to say. I would like to, and which we've done many times in the Plan Commission in the past, is put a time limit on a conditional use permit. Don't know where Victorville is going downtown right now. There's a lot of vacant property. My opinion, the county should build something and downtown would grow immediately. But seems like the county won't do that, or nobody can convince them. So I would like to, I wouldn't be opposed to approve this with a 4 or 5 year time limit on a conditional use permit. If everything goes right, the town don't improve in 4 or 5 years, the new commissioners would approve the conditional use permit. I know that you don't like that since you're buying the building, but if the community would grow as like it should grow, maybe your building would double in value also. So I would like to approve this with a time limit on it. What's the commission feel? I'm living a conditional use permit, but I have a lot of them.
We used to.
Over 20 years
It
ago.
used to be standard.
Used to be standard. That's my comments.
Mr. Chairman, I would be in favor of 3 years. That location is just very disturbing for me because the potential for it to boom is enormous in the future. So something may be an eyesore to me, may be a benefit to another person, but as relates to Mr. Commissioner Huber is a businessman, so I'd be willing to go along with that for 3 years.
How about 4? Because it's going to be 3 years before they get in the point where they might want to do phase 2. That would be good time to say the city's not growing, or that location is fine, or they rest and it goes along with the community.
You sold me for 4.
I'll make a motion. Whether comments?
I just a general comment is ultimately I think everybody in this room hopes that you work yourself right out of a job.
Yes.
That would be perfect. In the meantime, that's probably not going to happen very soon. I hope it does. And there's, what you do is it's a rough job, and it's a real problem out there, and we know that. And wherever we put the building in the community, there's going to be no perfect place. This old town happens to be old and possibly getting ready to revitalize, and a lot of the homeless people are in that area.
I would surmise that the reason why they selected that building is because it's big enough, and there's not a lot of big buildings down there, with a two-story. And especially if in the future you're going to have people staying there at night, you would want to have, you would want to know those people,
Sure.
frankly, yeah.
Totally be opposed of a 4-year conditional use permit? I know you don't like it.
The investment on the building is $750,000.
And that.
And so that's quite the investment to make for a limited amount of time, if that makes sense. Yeah, no, Alan brings up a great point. As I go out in the community and I ask them for their dollars to help me remodel the building, when we're not quite certain that we'll be able to do that in 4 years, I guess.
For the years I've been on the Plan Commission, 25 years, not renewed a building unless there was a major problem. That's why I was on the Plan Commission. The chances that if you do everything right, the Colonel Hoyle, they're going to approve it again. I know I won't be on there, probably, but thank you.
And I do feel even if there was a time frame, that doesn't mean it's over. That means it's take a breath, take a look at it again. Basically, I think we look at them as a renewal, kind of like we did in the past, right? Some days? Yeah. And there's no guarantees because you still have to come before somebody and the city for the expansion of the use and
Phase 2.
To see if in 3 or 4 years or 2 years, if you raise the funds, that would even be approved. You only own the building and you've taken the capital contribution donations, so it's still gray. And I think it really depends on looking at the land use at the point of time, what's going on in that area. What is it a benefit, or is it moved from new developers aren't looking at that area because we just keep putting things like trying to put shelters or anything else. But if that was the case and the place started booming, I do think that you would probably sell your real estate, at worst case. It's not my decision to make. I have no idea financially what that would mean. But I guess what I'm saying is I think I would be okay with a 4-year recheck, take a breath. I would be. And then they're claiming they're probably going to be here in about 3 years on this same building with us anyways to take, if we're still the same people here, but the commission would.
Looking for any problems, but I see that you're doing want to have a problem that we can't resolve.
Sure.
I see the good things. I think that I'll get a lot of, that's a good thing right there.
Could I ask a clarifying question?
Yes.
City staff, when we spoke, the phase 2 would require a conditional use permit or a rezoning application?
I would require a site plan and conditional use permit.
Okay, all right.
We assume by then it would either be fit in the MUR zone, which is the multi-use retail, which we're proposing. So we should find out within 6 months. Okay. Therefore, if we do allow homeless shelters, in accordance with SB2.
That's in the RA zone currently?
Yeah, currently it's in the RA zone.
Thank you.
Thank you.
There's a couple other individuals with you. Would you gentlemen like to speak, or did he sum it up?
I don't know that I can offer a whole lot more other than saying we're privately funded with a heart for helping with those who are hurting. This project, we don't stand before you looking at that property and saying, we really need you to let us do this because we see profit to be made, because we're nonprofit. We look at that property and see how it can be ideally suited to serve the population that naturally gathers around the river bottom through the transit station. And we can actually draw people off of 7th Street and get them connected to the right resources. So this phase 1 is to allow us to do the work that we're doing now, but doing it better, potentially even having partner agencies in the building with us, so that when people do come to us, we're able to connect them more readily with services that may in fact pull them out of the area and get them on the path towards health. So as we look at that, I know I can't look at you and say that we're here to offer you a service, and in essence we are. We're here to offer you a service. And the question at hand is that a location you want to see us offer the city of Victorville a service at? We feel like it is. The programs that we run are tightly controlled. The people who are in program are people who are on their journey towards health and contribute vocationally to local businesses through vocational training and through our own thrift stores. And so they're contributing. The volunteers who come to that building are coming to downtown. So if you're starting to get some momentum on restaurants and stores, our donors are probably who's going to drop by, and our volunteers are who's going to drop by. And so it actually could be a seed of improvement for downtown. We had a similar meetings for our family shelter in San Fernando Valley, where of course we get opposition because people are afraid of what they don't know. You know, who are these people who are homeless? How do they get there? And Bill shared that so often it's situational. Somebody loses a job. A wife loses a husband, or he leaves her and her and the kids are in the car, or he's gotten himself drug addicted, and the story goes on. But the hope for them to get better is in relationship. It's first gaining trust so that somebody knows your name. Because how many times do you pass somebody on the street and just look the other way? I used to. I don't anymore. I always introduce myself. I've taught store owners to do that, and as such have helped a little bit in the downtown of Ventura, where storefront owners have endeared themselves to the people who were once their problem, and now they're a friend, and they're actually helping them move on to better things. And so the idea at hand is, can we be a part of what you're wanting to accomplish downtown in terms of making it a better place, a place people want to go? So that's what we're here for, is to see if that's something you guys want to do. The phase 1 would allow us to do the kinds of things we do now, which is coordinate all the activities. They're largely decentralized, as Bill mentioned. What we would love to someday centralize there would be some shelter for guys. Long term, we imagine family shelters as well, depending on how collaborating agencies have formed. Again, we're largely collaborative. I think just the High Desert Food Collaborative has 33 members. And so increasingly, we're not trying to do it all ourselves, because to do it all ourselves means we have to raise all the money to do it ourselves. Again, we're privately funded. And so we continue to seek collaboration. This building would help us do that. My guess is we'd probably have some roommates that want to operate out of that building as well and help people with job searches and with other resources. Questions you might have for me?
One question. I have one question. It might have been covered, but you said that as far as the training, the people that your participants in this program, how long is that program consist? How long does it for each individual? How long is it for them?
Yeah, usually there's a 1-month introductory period and a 9-month program.
Okay.
So
And
to graduate program, and then after that, some transitional living time, where in our current, we have the neighborhood houses that we have now that we do program out of. So the guy will come in, he'll do that discovery phase. Am I prepared to give 10 months of my life to get better?
And during that 9 months, is there any vocational training that you offer too?
Yeah, vocational training, work therapy at least 4 hours a day, where they're working in our thrift stores or around the grounds. Or
And then after the 9 months, after they graduate successfully, do you have a placement program to where you assist them in,
Yeah, well-
finding a job?
Yeah, we have what we call our transitional living program, in which they can actually stay in our facilities. We have dedicated beds for that, where they gradually find work and begin helping with the costs of them staying there, and then move on to find their own place. And we help them with that as well.
Thank you.
And your name was Alan Clother, right?
Yeah.
Okay, just for the record, yep. And I do have a card from Mr. Abreu.
Oh, sorry about the microphone. Chairman and Vice Chair and Commissioners. My name's Roger Abreu from Frick Frick and Jate Architects. We are school architects majoritively, but we do some commercial buildings throughout the High Desert and San Bernardino County. So we have a lot of intimate knowledge of this building specifically, but also a lot of the campuses and facilities from Victor Elementary School District. 5 years ago, this building was occupied by the school district, and they vacated because they have a new facility. It's laid vacant, and the facility itself is good and solid, but I do have to say that these gentlemen with the rescue mission, we support them as that they have the funds and the means and support to take this building because it has unique construction. So an average person wanting to move in and make a remodel probably can't afford to make these changes. So they would need to have a collaboration of funds and a heart to want to remodel a building like this. Like Mr. Edwards said, this building is prior to 1970. It was a county building. Half of it is concrete construction, which kind of limits the amount of remodel. So we just thank you for your time listening to us. I can't reiterate what these gentlemen said because they're well-spoken men. But our plan is to be part of the phase 2, and we realize that you guys will invite and look at that at that time. But they have a lot of support, and so they won't be going in without knowledge and without working with the city of Victorville, wanting to match the old town and to do what is right by pulling those that are homeless and off the streets to help them, give them a hand up. And so it's not to attract, but to actually better the community, and they have a track record. So thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thanks. Okay. Anyone else here to speak to us on agenda item number 5? Seeing no one, I'll thank you guys for your testimony, and I'll close the public hearing and bring it back to the commission for deliberation.
Chairman Kurtz, I compliment you guys for what you're doing. And when you come in for phase 2, then I would probably try to extend phase 1 to a longer time at that time, which if everything is going right, you should get that another 5-10 years or take it off. So I'd recommend that if we get the votes here or not. I'll find the conditional use permit and request the determination categoric exempt pursuant to CEQA section 15301 existing facilities, and find that all of the use listed as phase 1 support services in section 2 of the staff analysts and shall be considered conditioning with the storefront commercial district, and adopt resolution number P-18-019 approving conditional use permit case number PLAN 18-21 for 4 years subject to detached conditions of approval.
Second.
I have a motion by Commissioner Huber, second by Commissioner Dew, to approve item number 5 with a 4-year conditional use permit. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
And just to clarify, did that include the modifications to condition 10, which allowed meeting times after 6 p.m.?
Yes, that was the added condition.
Yes.
Yeah, the added. That was in my motion.
Motion carries with the additional condition to item number 10.
Yeah, modified condition.
Modified
to number
condition.
10.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you. Agenda item number 6 is a request for a continuance regarding the Dunia Plaza retail development project. And they're requesting to continue this item to the May 9th meeting, 2018. So before I do that, I'll open up the public hearing. Is there anyone here to speak to us on item number 6? Seeing no one, I'll go ahead and make the motion to continue this item to the May 9th, 2018 Planning Commission meeting.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kurth, second by Commissioner Porter to continue the item number 6 to the May 9th, 2018 Planning Commission meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you. And item number 7, same thing, a request for a continuance of item number 7, asking to be continued to the April 11th, 2018 meeting. Is there anyone here to speak to us on item number 7? Seeing no one, I will close the public hearing, and I'll make the motion to continue agenda item number 7 to the April 11th, 2018 Planning Commission meeting.
Second.
Motion by Commissioner Kurth, second by Commissioner Huber to continue item number 7 to the April 11th, 2018 Planning Commission meeting. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion carries unanimously.
It's time for our general public comments section. In compliance with the Brown Act, it's necessary for the Planning Commission to make available time for the members of the public to address the Planning Commission on items of interest that fall within our subject matter jurisdiction. Is there anyone here to speak to us tonight? And that is it for our agenda items. Are there any final comments from the Commission? Commissioner Marsh?
I don't have any.
Porter? Commissioner Huber? Nope. Do.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, thank you. First of all, I would like to commend students around the country for they're taking their stand regarding limiting weapons of combat. And I, being a military person, know something about that, although I was in the Air Force and I was a medical manager. But nevertheless, these arms provide great harm, and it's very commendable to see another generation taking a lead. So I want to commend them. Also, I want to also thank my fellow commissioners and the staff for the good work that we provide. Thank you. I yield back.
Thank you. I have nothing. Any comments from any staff members?
No, thank you.
Okay, with that, thank you, everyone. Meeting adjourned.